Okay, in this video I will be changing the front brake pads and rotors in this 2013 Mazda 3. It's a 2-liter, has a Skyactiv engine, and I think they're common pads and rotors unless you get the 2.5-liter. Anyway, this job should have been easy. In theory, it kind of was, but in practice, it kind of wasn't. So I got a jack, some axle stands, I got a socket set, I got an old box of gloves, flathead screwdriver, pair of needle nose, couple breaker bars. I got a lot of play out of these. I got some Allen keys to go on the ratchet, and really the only one you need is a 7mm. Got some additional sockets for the breaker bars, some wrenches. Didn't really use those too much. You can take them or leave them. I got this for when I do the rear brakes. Didn't use it on the fronts. Got a couple wire brushes to test out for how they work for cleaning. Really, you just need these ones. They look like toothbrushes. Don't be confused though, they're not toothbrushes. They will hurt your gums. I got some brake cleaner. I already had some liquid penetrant spray. I already had this anti-seize from some other thing. I bought a new thing of silicone ceramic brake lubricant, but apparently I already had one of those too. So I got lots of stuff to take back to the store. I bought some DOT 4. I didn't use that either, actually. Turns out I didn't actually reduce the amount of brake fluid in my reservoir. Got some Scotch-Brite. I did get some blue thread locker, but I also had some of that kicking around. So bought a whole bunch of stuff I didn't need. Some of it I'll take back, some of it I'll just keep for later. So I don't know, 30, 40 bucks worth of fluids and liquids and lubricants. So these are the pads and rotors I got. I called around to Mazda. They quoted me $110 per rotor, $199 for the pads, $330 for the labor, which is about 2 hours. So all in, Mazda quote was $750 plus tax. Tax here, 13%. So Mazda, I called a couple dealers, we're right around the $850 mark. I got these, actually at Canadian Tire. They were on sale the week I picked these up for $67.99 for the pads, $70.50 for the rotors each. So 141 plus 68 is $209. With that 13% tax, $236. So that's 240 bucks all in for pads and rotors. Canadian, obviously. The DIY savings are up to $610. I did not save $610. A few things go horribly wrong for me in this process, so I had about another $100 of expenses for tools I had to get. So in the end, I saved maybe $450 to $500 Canadian. You notice there's two different types of pads. The ones with no metal clips on the back of the pads are for the outer brake pad, or the outer brake pads. The ones with that big spring-loaded thing are the inner brake pads, and that spring goes inside the brake caliper piston. And these pads come with new retainer clips, and I think most of them would. It doesn't really matter which brand you buy, they should come with that. It should be part of the brake, and you shouldn't reuse those from the old ones. Anyway, that's what they look like. I tested them out, they work, they're quiet, they stop the car. First thing we're going to do here is take the 21mm and loosen up the lug nuts on the tire. Nothing too special. Just hit every one and get them turning. One thing I did forget to mention is I do have two different torque wrenches. The big one for going to 30 foot-pounds plus. So I do use that on the mounting bracket. And then the smaller torque wrench is sort of my 30 foot-pound and below wrench. And that is for the slide pins. So I got my jack and the jack point. And just lift the car up real quick. And then we'll get that tire off the rest of the way once it's up in the air. One day when I start getting a little more money from YouTube, I'll get some better tools here. In the meantime, I'm just using a breaker bar and the 21mm socket to get everything off. Put your lug nuts somewhere safe so you don't lose them like in A Christmas Story. And then I'll just remove the tire from the vehicle. And normally I just throw the tire under the vehicle somewhere. That way if there's a catastrophic failure of the jack and axle stands, I still have something there so the car doesn't completely drop onto the ground. And you can see I got axle stands in place as well. First thing I'm going to do is just loosen the brake fluid reservoir cap. But I'm not going to take it all the way off because I don't want anything getting in there. So removal of the caliper, there's two little covers for the brake caliper slide pins. Just pull right out, nothing fancy. And those are great because it keeps everything nice and clean in there and made for an easy removal of the actual slide pins. which is good because they're Allen key or hex heads. So if they were dirty, that would be a real pain. So make sure you put those back on correctly. And I'm also going to just remove this tension spring now. All you need is a screwdriver, like I said, the flathead, or you can use a pair of needle nose pliers and just pull it out. Nothing fancy. It is spring loaded, so watch your face, but it didn't go flying when I removed it. So I'll remove the slide pins. As I mentioned, it is a 7mm. A little bit later I end up putting a short extension on here, and it makes it a little bit easier working around the brake line. Overall, this was very easy. They weren't frozen in place. They came out nicely. Obviously, they're in the plastic housing and there's some grease in there, so pretty smooth sailing so far. The pins were a little stiff to get out. I found I should just poke them a little bit with a screwdriver. It'll push them back out of the way. Obviously, you don't want to damage the threads or anything like that, so just be careful if this is the route you choose to go. And then once the pins are backed off, you can just take the flathead or a little pry bar or something just to help you remove the caliper. Now, of course, just like any video on this, I can tell you not to hang the brake caliper by the brake hose. It's not designed for that. So you can see I'm just kind of got it set on top of the brake, and I'm just going to use a cargo strap to hang it on the front strut. And you can see what I got going on there. So I'll pull out the pins now, just give them a little shake. They're kind of jammed in there. That's what they look like. And I'll just throw the sides for now. Later I'll clean those up before they go back in. And there's the second one. I'll take the outer brake pad off. It's really just sitting there anyway. I'm going to be taking this caliper mounting bracket off because I got to get the rotor off. And I'm going to clean it up with a wire brush. So there's the outer pad. You can see it's pretty worn. And I've already removed the inner pad, which was just on the caliper piston. So now I'll just compress the caliper piston. You may not necessarily need to open the bleeder screw. By doing this, you're not going to fill up your brake fluid reservoir up in the engine bay. And to compress the piston, I'm just using a woodworking clamp. And then I'll tighten off the bleeding screw. One thing to note, you should check the piston and make sure it's not covered in dirt. If it was, you should get that off before you compress it. Now I'll remove the caliper mounting bracket bolts. So this, I'm using a breaker bar with a 17mm socket. And then I have a ratchet also with a 17mm socket. For when they're loosened up, I'll use the ratchet afterwards. And just like the slide pins, these came off no problem. So I've built up a good sense of false confidence here. And obviously the ratchet's just a lot faster than the breaker bar to remove things. You can see that they're covered in blue Loctite, and when I put them back in, I reapply some fresh blue Loctite. And obviously my mounting bracket's pretty rusty. Okay, so initially I thought I'd get a little girl's hammer and a piece of wood and just tap this thing off, get it moving. No dice. This turns out to be the hardest thing I've ever removed from a vehicle. So I'm going to smack on this for a while. I really don't videotape it all because I got too angry. But after smacking on it with this little pink hammer, I went and got a larger black hammer, which is obviously more aggressive because it's black. Then I went and got a sledgehammer, a little 5-pound sledge action. Sprayed everything down with about a whole can of PB Blaster. Then I went and got a 5-ton puller from Canadian Tire, which cost me $80. And you can see I broke the disc 4 times trying to remove this thing. And you see it's still stuck on there in this this shot of it. Definitely annoying. So then I grabbed the grinder, and this is how I got it off actually. And you see this is just after I got it off. It's all wet with the penetrant spray, so it's not a case of the penetrant wasn't getting in there. It definitely was. So absolutely stunning how difficult this was. But this little 5-ton puller and this 5-pound mallet kind of won the day for me here. And definitely cutting it with the angle grinder made a big difference. So I just cut through the braking surface and then got the 5-ton puller on that one corner and sort of peeled the brake off a little bit. And a couple smacks with the hammer after that, and it came off. But incredible how fused on that was. The passenger side, same deal. I covered it with penetrant spray overnight. This one I probably broke about 4 times as well with the 5-ton puller. And then I cut right through the disc. This one actually broke even more, and then I cut through the top of the brake rotor. You can see there with the angle grinder. Obviously you got to be careful not to nick a whole bunch of stuff in your steering and suspension components. But once that cut was put in there, using the 5-ton puller and the mallet, I was able to pull it off. I am aware that people do put bolts on the caliper mounting bracket, but I would exercise caution with that because you don't want to bend or break your caliper mounting brackets. Anyway, back to the show here. There's the caliper mounting bracket. I'm going to use a wire brush on the mounting bracket, and then I'm going to use a wire brush and some spray on here. I'm not going to show me cleaning the mounting bracket because I just spray it and scrub with the metal toothbrush. And watching me do that's about as exciting as watching me pick blueberries. So I will show me getting the rust off this guy quickly. I do use this wire brush on the drill, and actually I do like it. I found this brush was able to work around the studs pretty well, so I did find a benefit in this. I think it was $5 well spent, but I do use the Scotch-Brite pad, and I also use the wire toothbrush thing, which is not for your teeth. So there you go, Scotch-Brite pad. Scotch-Brite's one of my favorite items for cleaning rust, and I found that the brake cleaner wasn't the greatest because it evaporates so quickly. Something like WD-40 was a little bit better. So before I throw the new brake rotor back on, I'm just going to absolutely soak this in anti-seize on all surfaces, because ultimately I never want to go through the ordeal I went through again. If I had to guess, it probably took about 3 hours to get the first brake rotor on the driver's side off. Obviously I waited till the second day to remove the second one, but even that took about an hour and a half. Once I went with the angle grinder trick, it definitely sped things up. I didn't toy around with a little pink hammer and a block of wood. I just went full send right away. So before mounting up the brake rotor, spray it down with a little bit of brake cleaner, a little bit of wipe with a clean shop rag, and you can see it's coming up a little bit dirty. Not very dirty, not a big deal, but if there is any contaminants on there, you do want to get them off the rotor. And I'll just drop this rotor straight back on. And obviously, because it's not welded to the vehicle with rust, you can use your lug nuts to just hold it in place. So I must have messed up the filming and didn't videotape myself putting the bracket back on, but I did put blue Loctite on both of those bolts, and I torqued those to 70 foot-pounds. The torque spec I've got on them is 61 to 74 foot-pounds. So that's what I use. So unfortunately I didn't get the video footage of me putting the bolts back on, but those are the brakes, I guess. So I'm using the silicone brake lubricant to lubricate all the areas where the brake pads are going to contact the mounting bracket, ideally keeping everything moving well. I'll put the outer brake pad in place. You can see obviously it rides where I put the lubricant. And then you have the option of putting some of that lube on the back of this brake pad, but instead of doing that, I apply it here directly to the caliper. So either way, this is the surface that's going to come into contact with that outer brake pad. And then I'm going to put some of this lubricant on the caliper piston as well, onto the face of it. So the inner brake pad will be inserted into this piston. Pretty straightforward. And I'll show that going in a second. So there's sort of a better shot of the piston. Obviously working it around the rim with my finger, and then I'll work the rest of the lube onto the surface that contacts the outer brake pad. So this is the insertion of the inner brake pad. Kind of got to get the spring-loaded metal pieces into the piston and then push it straight down. A little bit tricky, but not too difficult. And then don't have the caliper hanging on your brake line. So line everything up, slide it in place. Because I compressed the piston fully into the caliper, there's quite a bit of play, so it's not difficult to slide in. So I lubed up those slide pins, and I'll reinsert those into the caliper. Obviously both top and bottom. You do have to look around a little bit to line the threaded portion of the slide pins into the brake caliper mounting bracket, but fairly simple process. And initially I use just a normal ratchet to tighten up the slide pins, but then I'm going to switch it over to the torque wrench. The torque spec I had from those, again, I don't have a manual, I'm just sort of going off what I could find online for these. I have 19 to 22 foot-pounds for the torque spec from Mazda on these, and I went with 20 foot-pounds. So again, for the two large mounting bolts, again, used the blue Loctite and brought them to 70 foot-pounds, and then for these slider pins, I went to 20 foot-pounds, no Loctite. Then I'll lube up these covers a little bit so that no dirt, water, or road grime get in there. Hopefully I never have to take these brakes off again though. Obviously I'm going to tighten up the brake fluid reservoir. I found it was easier to put one end of the pin in and then put the other one and then just sort of slide the clip over the brake caliper mounting bracket. So you see the two pointy ends go into the brake caliper and then the two other ends go sort of over the mounting bracket. And that's it. So like I said, I got the first one done on a Saturday, and then I got the passenger side done on the Sunday. So I didn't bother filming the passenger side. Obviously everything was exactly the same, except I did a little bit more damage to the rotor when I took it off the passenger side. So to button this all up, throw the lug nuts back on, get them semi-tight. Don't forget to remove the cargo strap that I left there. Pull the axle stands. And then drop the vehicle down. Obviously I got this in fast motion. And then the torque spec that I'm using for the lug nuts is 85 foot-pounds. And obviously going around the lug nuts in sort of a star pattern as opposed to clockwise or counterclockwise. Overall, job super easy except for the brake rotors. So Sunday after I got everything done, normally I drink a coffee, but it's pretty hot, so treated myself to a BJ. And I'm going to take this for the brake bed-in procedure. So did a little bit of slow motion driving. Obviously you got to pick a road where there's no traffic particularly behind you. Take the vehicle up to 35 miles per hour, which is about 60-ish kilometers an hour. Hit the brakes fairly hard. You don't want the anti-lock brakes to engage, so just a fairly quick, smooth braking down to about 5 miles an hour or 10 kilometers an hour, and then do that 4 times. So up to 35 miles, down to 5, up to 35, down to 5. And then once you've done that 4 times, you're going to do almost the same thing, only you're going to take it up to about 50 miles an hour or somewhere around the 80 kilometer an hour range. And then again, hit the brakes, try to slow down to about 5 miles an hour or 10 kilometers an hour within about 5 seconds or so. So really give the brakes a good workout without having a complete stop. Rumor has it that if you go to a complete stop, it could end up seizing your brakes up. I'm not entirely sure if that's accurate, but it could be a rumor that doesn't actually happen in reality. Once this is done, everything's good. Brakes work fine, no issues. Obviously, I didn't love how aggressive I had to get with removing those rotors, but other than that, job was pretty good. And I do take this out to the highway to take it to about 120 and really step on the brakes as well. Anyway, thanks for checking out my video. Bit of a long one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.